So now you're doing 5 of these a month.
Yeah.
And how are you promoting them? Through the independent record stores? Are you doing Record Store Day? You can have a launch on Record Store Day?
What we're going to do, we're about to announce this, but I'll give you an advanced scoop on it. We're going to have a network of authorized Blue Note dealers, based around the same way you have authorized Fender dealers that are music stores, and they're going to basically carry high quality product. Blue Note.
They should each have a decent turntable there and a decent stereo system to play them back on. That should be part of the franchise.
Yeah, but I think that for the most part, record stores are pretty cognizant of fidelity. You know?
Yeah, well, that's important. That's how their business survives.
I agree.
I just wish they wouldn't sell those turntables that Jack White's willing to sell. Those Crosley turntables. They're groove chewers. It's killing your own resurgence. Kids are going to buy those turntables. At Target, you can buy a $30 copy of Dark Side of the Moon and a $30 turntable. And guess what? After 5 plays, it's going to be a flat record with no grooves left in it.
I wasn't even aware of that.
That I'll put on it because I.
Yeah, good, man. That's good. That's good to know.
Shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. You know, like I'm listening to when you walk in here. I got Mother Earth,
right,
old Mercury record. That another one from when I was in high school. And it still sounds pretty good.
Of course it does.
I've taken care of it. You know.
Yeah, I have all of my records. I was like a record Nazi in college. Nobody barred my records. What are you kidding? They were locked up, and I still Cornell, and I still have all the records.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm nuts, and they're still great. But now I'm making a living at this. My fetish, so it's good. And then I talk to all these young people. It's so fantastic, you know. And they email me and they go to my website and I got a turntable and and I played some records. It's so much. It's a different. I'm feeling, you know. I had a friend bring his kid down who was a Bob Dylan fan. He had every Dylan MP3. And I sat him down, and my stereo was ridiculous. My stereo costs more than my house. It's ridiculous. And I said, what do you want? He said, Blood on the Tracks. Let me hear it. He Tangled Up in Blue. And I played him an original pressing. And Phil Ramone finished it and sent it off. They played it and pressed it. And the song was over. The kid, he was crying. He was uncontrollably crying. And tears were coming down. He said, I never heard this song before. He said, I never heard it. And each guitar strum was cut through me. It was like, I said, I'm overwhelmed. I can't deal with it. I said, that's what it's supposed to do.
I would love to come sometime here. I hear you have an amazing system.
It's ridiculous. You should.
Yeah.
It would be fun. Yeah, you should come up. You know what's really sad? I lived in Hackensack when I first moved back east, and Rudy's house was down the block from where I lived, and the Van Gelder wrought iron spelling was gone, but the soot still spelled out Van Gelder. And on the side of the house was the ramp and the double doors going up, and I kept saying, I'm going to go over there and take pictures and get, because this is history. Yeah. First of all, the building never should have been. It should have been saved as a museum. But
it's gone.
But whatever. Yeah, it's a.
The one that was his parents' house.
Yeah. And I never took any pictures, and I never. It's too bad. But
that's wild. Well, I've never met Rudy, and so.
I haven't either. I just know that the remasters, the Blue Note remasters, the RBG series, those weren't very good. He revised his own history.
Well, sometimes, look, in fairness to him, sometimes going to the guy who did it is not the best.
I agree.
Because just
it's almost not fair. It's almost like sadistic.
We are reverential about it.
Right.
It's a mundane thing to him.
That's right.
It's just something that he did, and
that's
you
right.
can't help but listen to things he did before, and think, oh man, I really fucked that. You know.
Yeah. Well, his piano sound had problems. It was a hard instrument to record to begin with, and
I think even the stuff like.
That's why the Larry Young is so great, because there's no piano and it's just those cymbals. Oh my God, the cymbals on the.
I think this one, "Free for All" by Art Blakey.
That's one I don't have.
This is you gotta hear this one, man. You will flip because it's all distortion. It's like a punk rock, punk jazz, because Art is playing so fucking loud.
Yeah, well, that's what he does.
But it's amazing. It's got tremendous energy to it. So it's.
That's one of the first ones that you're doing.
Yeah,
that makes sense, right? Something that's really punky and edgy.
What we've tried to do with the series, and we chose 100 to start with, but we're going to do everything.
Yeah.
We're going to do 5 a month till we keel over.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Hopefully someone. Yeah, we have it booked. We picked the first 100, and it's. I will tell you right now, it's totally subjective.
Of course it is. All this is subjective.
And it's supposed to be fun. I wanted people to argue with it.
Right.
But the first 50, I think everyone pretty much agrees.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do was, you should have the most popular titles up. Blue Train should come out.
That's what people
That's
are.
our number one. If you don't count Nora Jones, that's our number one.
You have to have
catalog.
that, and it's like Kind of Blue. You have to have
so
that.
A couple of the popular ones. But then in the first month, we also have Eric Dolphy Out to Lunch.
Okay, great one.
And Larry Young Unity,
Yeah, great.
which are amazing.
Those are all great.
records.
Yeah. Now, you're doing the mono of that? Because that looks like it's.
Yeah. That's a good
It's like
question. We did whatever we did.
Yeah, that's the mono. That's the mono.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's one of the ones where the recreated stereo
Yeah.
was a mono.
So now, tell me about. Some of these are being cut from tape, and some are not.
It really depends how we're doing.
What's the decision making?
Well, we're trying to. The bottom line is, it's got. I've had to hold the ground. We got to stay under $20.
Right.
And it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, and if you can have Chris cut them, it's more expensive to do them out.
Yeah, but because Bernie is doing a lot of, actually most of them, they can set it back up and do it there. But the things that Alan Yoshida did a beautiful job, but he just, he was just really busy.
Cutting? Alan?
No,
he didn't cut.
Yeah,
No.
so he didn't cut. So in the cases where we cut, I love what Alan did. So in that case, we're cutting from the digital.
Right.
Yeah.
So Alan did some of the transfers, or.
He did the transfers. He's meticulous about it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
His stuff sounds
he's great.
just beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of the Music Madness stuff too.
Yeah.
I think maybe all of it. And he's great at it. Totally understands us. I
Yeah.
love everything he did. And we put in a lot of time together.
I'm sure.
And really, we tried to get there's a theory behind it, which I've explained to you, which is just be true to the original intention of the artist.
Right.
And don't editorialize.
Right.
Even if you think something's wrong.
Exactly.
Like there was early on, there was an instance where the piano sort of disappeared on something. So he EQ'd it. I said, well, maybe the piano's doing something fucked up. And the fact that it disappeared is what makes this a great record. We don't know this.
That's right.
But I know this much: when you added that little bit of 2K, you changed the record.
Yeah.
And that's not our place, man. We
I
can't
agree.
start doing this.
I agree.
So he backed it off, and so we worked out those kind of things. That it's hard to resist the temptation.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the one case where it was a good idea to do it, for some reason, I never could figure out why. If you listen to Joni Mitchell's Blue, which Bernie cut originally, the first couple of seconds are missing on one channel, and then you can hear a patch cord go in. It's crazy, and I thought maybe that was the way it was, but then when they reissued it, they put the patch cord back in, so the whole thing starts the way it's supposed to. I see fixing that.
There's one fix that we did in the first 100, and that was on Ornette Coleman at the Golden Circle. The left and right side are out of phase.
Oh.
Always.
How did that happen?
They fucked up when they recorded it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Rudy. It was live at a club in
That's right.
Stockholm.
Yeah, sure.
Someone just had a bad tape.
I think I've got that in mono, so
Yeah.
maybe it's.
So someone spotted it. I forgot who it was, but someone here in the Capitol Mastering.
Yeah.
And fixed it. And it didn't feel like the record anymore.
Wow.
Because there was something goofy that happened with the cymbals. It sounded like an upside down cymbal. It sounded like a garbage can. But that gave it this quirky thing that I loved.
Yeah.
And then it just sounded normal. So we went in and got it back in phase, and then EQ'd it to emulate.
Wow.
And that was there was an editorial byproduct, which was that David Eisenman's bass now spoke.
Yeah.
And I went back and forth on that, but I felt we didn't ruin the feel of the
Yeah,
record. It
yeah.
kept its quirkiness.
Well, it's nice to know that this kind of detail went into it, because the snarky people say, oh, they're just putting this product out.
Oh no, man! I've been really. It's been the great joy of. I was shocked, when I took the gig. I just thought, great, man, where are the archives? Let's get all the records.
Yeah. Well, this is the heritage. This is.
Yeah, but it turned out under the EMI system that we didn't control the catalog. Catalog went to the catalog division. So they were all very nice and they were cooperative, but it wasn't our domain. It wasn't like I couldn't just go down there and get a bunch of records that I'd never heard before. And since it's changed over to the universal system, the catalog division has been incredibly helpful to us, but
Yeah.
they work hand in hand with us. And,
Right.
And so I've just been really involved because I love it, man, and I really care about this music. So
That's obvious.
a lot of thought and care goes into this stuff, and we do the best we can on this series. Do the best we can, keeping the price below
Right.
$50.
And it's still not a big profit thing, I'm sure. It's not.
We're not doing a big profit.
I know. I don't think most of the people who do records really do it for a killing.
Yeah, no, we do it because we want people to hear the music.
It should be done, and
hear it on vinyl.
it builds an audience for people who want to sit and listen to music, which is what's been lost.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you can listen to music while you're cooking or while you're screwing, but that's not what listening to music is. It's paying attention.
You know, my kids my two youngest kids haven't grown up with turntables, and so they had, you know, I had one, I think, when they didn't pay attention to it, and they became aware of it, and they saw me, I was checking the test pressing on Robert Glasper's Black Music, I think Doug Sachs got it.
Yeah.
And I put it up, and we sat there in this room in the house, and we looked at the turntable like you look at a fireplace.
Right, that's right.
It was an event.
Yeah.
It kept the family together. No one was texting, no one was doing other stuff. We sat there and looked at the turntable and listened to the music. And at 15 minutes aside, so it's not, you're not.
Is this thing still blinking?
Yes.
Good. You know, I was once involved in Storyful had a contest. You could win, you answer some questions in NYC, you'd win a home theater. And so the people that won, it's amazing. They lived in my town, in all of New York City. And I said, what home theater do you want? And they said, we want a stereo, we want a turntable, we've got a lot of old records. So I got them a stereo with a turntable. And I ran into them about 3 months later at the town dump doing recycling, and they said, you have changed my kids' lives. They come home, the first thing they want to do is put on a record and listen to music. They don't run out into the street. They don't want to play video games. Thank you. And I know that that's true.
I think there's something about the CD movement. And the CD, you know,
Yeah, it disappears in a drawer.
Disappears in a drawer.
Yeah, and the sound of it's just not, it's a different emotional experience. It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was talking to David Chesky, you know, and he said, well, I think what it is when you put the needle in the groove, you're creating a performance. And each time you perform it, it could be slightly different, if the speed's slightly different, or if the record's a little different, something about it is not quite locked in, and that gives you that sense of, I'm not sure whether that's true, but it's a nice thought.
Well, I know this. It's all about dopamine production, really.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's mysterious as to what necessarily triggers.
That's right.
But you know when it's being triggered, and you
That's
want
right.
more. That's why the kids keep going back.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
They're getting zonked on dopamine, and records do that. Looking through a bin of 12-inch records.
Yeah, exactly.
And reading this thing, you get addicted to it.
I was here when Tower was slowly switching over to CDs, and you'd look down in that giant supermarket and see all these things disappearing for those long boxes. And it was like the soul is leaving the building at this point.
No,
it had to happen because you know we saw what the format was. Sales were tanking, so they needed something new. But eventually, you know, the price was paid.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, this was great.
Good. I hope that clarifies.
It did. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
Now I'll turn this off.